Welcome to Mark My Words, a show that searches for the fork in the road in life, the place where the turning point in the journey of entrepreneurship and life can be found. Let's meet each other at the crossroads on Mark My Words. From former high-level athlete to near-death survivor to entrepreneur, my guest, Rene, who is the CEO of Exodus Strong, is dedicated to merging ancient wisdom with modern wellness to create innovative health solutions. And it comes from a very spiritual place, and I cannot wait to have this conversation with Rob today. He has had quite a path, quite a story, and he's going to share it here and hopefully inspire and help those of us who have mental pain, physical pain, or just need to hear his story and his wisdom. Rob, welcome to Mark My Words. How are you doing today?
Hey, Mark, I'm fantastic. Thank you for having me on your show. This is exciting.
Well, I'm very excited to have you here, and it's great to spend this time with you. I know you're a busy person, you got so much going on, but you've also had a lot going on in life, and we're going to
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that. I also, looking at your background there, I also did mention that Rob has a podcast called I Am Pain Free, and
Yeah.
we're going to talk about all of that plus more. And I'm going to jump a little bit into your path. So I've had a few people who I'm guessing based on your story that you're from Utah area. And I know that you went to BYU, you studied information management, minor in business. Were these, first of all, I've had a lot of people who have gone to either BYU or are from Utah who have become entrepreneurs and have done awesome things. So there's something in the water there.
There might
But
be.
but I want to ask, was business and like information management, was that kind of thing something that you were thinking about going into college as you were growing up? If not, what else were you thinking about doing with your life?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. And to interestingly enough, my goal early on was to be a professional runner. So I ended up going to BYU specifically for that. Received a full ride running scholarship to BYU, and I'm not Mormon and or LDS if people are familiar with the religion of that school. So it was a little bit difficult, but at the same point, I grew up in Southeast Idaho, and so there were a lot of people, and a lot of my good friends were of that faith, and so it didn't scare me. And they had an incredible running program, and so I accepted the scholarship to that school and was super excited about it because the coaches there had produced professional runners like the 5 years prior to me going there. They had produced runners who were literally making a living, and I was like, man, I think that's a great idea. I would love to do that. So I did have my middle brother. His name is Rick, and he was my mentor growing up. So he thankfully really helped me understand how important having an education was. So I did have a really good backup. My plan was to go into computers at the initially. And when I was going to school, that was a business degree at BYU that had a computer component to it. And I thought that's pretty smart because then I can learn business and I can have a computer focus. And so that was the information management program at BYU at the time. So that was pretty fun. But literally the reason why I went to BYU was to be a runner instead of a business person.
Well, if you were thinking about computers during that era, it was like the perfect time because that's when it was really starting to ramp up. I remember pretty well. I was a little younger, so I really kind of grew up with, just the personal computer and could see
Uh,
even as a kid, just not even in my teens, I'm like, I think this is definitely going to be the future. And, it's been more than the future. So you were
yeah.
very smart to think along those lines. And you obviously had your goal of being an athlete, and I know that there is a story there that not only impacted your career as an athlete and your career in corporate America, but just your life in general. And I invite you to pick up the story and kind of share what exactly happened and
Sounds
how
good.
you wound up on this path.
Yeah, sounds great. So so part of my story was I read this book when I was in high school called Eat to Win. And that book was really transformative really later on. It was really important to me when I was running because it really helped me fuel my body. And I was a distance runner, so I think God gave me some really good talent, so that helped. But at the same point, I also knew how to train well because my brother was a runner. He was 4 years older than I. So I had that advantage. And then I had the advantage of learning how to fuel my body. Whereas a lot of my competitors, right, they're out eating hot dogs and hamburgers and Coca-Colas, and I'm eating very healthy food and fuel, nutrition that's fueling my body that really helped at the end of races a lot. And so I really had a great finish all the time. And people were like, "How come he's so strong? How can he always finish well?" And I attribute that to some to God, but a lot to my nutrition as well. So that I'll explain why that's important in a few minutes. But I was so excited about my running career because I'd won a cross country championship when I was in middle school. And then I got the full ride scholarship to BYU. I just made the U.S. junior national team, which is 20 years and younger. I was the second best miler in the country. And so, man, I was doing well, and I went on an international tour after that national championship, and I beat that same kid who had beat me, and I won one of the international races where there was five runners from five different countries. And I was just so excited because I'm like, man, I am on my way. I had run like a 4:05 mile at the time, and it was getting close to that 4 minute barrier, and the coaches were excited about my path. And then I was out that winter. I was out on a training run, doing a 10-mile run with my friend, and it was really cold and wintry, and I'd gotten a bloody nose during my run, and I was like, oh dang it, it was really dry in the winter there in Utah, and I was frustrated. I was like, well, we almost turned back, but we decided to keep going. And then we were on a backcountry road, and all of a sudden, my friend jumps into the ditch and yells my name. He said, Rob. And I turned around, and I had enough time to see this 4x4 truck coming right at me. And I didn't have time to move or jump or do anything other than just say, I'm going to get hit. I'm going to get hit. And this 4x4 truck hit me in the hip and threw me 36 feet. So that's a long way. If you think about, a 6 foot person 6 times, that's a really long ways. And I landed straight on my face, and then my knees. So it knocked me out unconscious. I'm, freezing it was all snow covered, ice covered road, and I'm laying there unconscious, and bleeding because I landed on this side of my face. And it was really scary because with that bloody nose that I had earlier, while I was lying there, it filled up my throat. So not only was I not breathing, I couldn't get any more oxygen. So I was unconscious and I couldn't breathe. So it was really scary situation that, now I look back on it and I believe that since I did survive that accident, that God has a plan for my life. because I should have died that day. My friend literally unclogged my throat. If he wouldn't have unclogged my throat and had known that I had the bloody nose earlier, he probably wouldn't have known to do that. And so just these little series of events were just too unbelievable to think that there's, happenstance, that I really think that he has a plan for my life. So that was the end of my running career, which was really unfortunate because that literally was my entire goal, right? That was my life, that was my direction, that was all I was passionate about. And I was super excited about doing that. So I did end up finishing my degree. I tried to make a comeback in running. That didn't work, and I became really frustrated and depressed, and went through a really difficult time for years. And then I went into the corporate world. Right, was smart enough to get a degree, like I mentioned, got that information management degree. And I went into corporate sales and did that for decades, and did well. But at the same point, it just wasn't really super fulfilling. It was like there's something missing, and I then ended up getting addicted to alcohol. So I was in sales, and so in sales, you're incented to go take your clients out every weekend, and the most often even during the week. It's either lunch or dinner, and you entertain them with drinks, and then you take them out to the bar to have a few drinks, and that just became a daily habit. And so for 20 plus years, I drank every day, and it just was really obviously really bad thing for my health. And then, man, a second truck hit me, and this is where it gets really interesting. But the second truck, I call it, is the same truck that hit you, Mark. Right? It hit everybody. It was the pandemic, right? And so the reason why I call it the second truck is it had that similar effect on my life. So here I was, early on as a runner, and I had my path and I was going forward. And then all of a sudden, boom, right? My world blew up, and my life changed. And the pandemic did the same thing to me. It was like I was doing sales, I was doing fine, life was good. And then boom, the pandemic hit. I lost my sales job because I couldn't travel. So they downsized the sales team, and then I started doing, and this is come where that nutrition book comes back into play. So when the pandemic hit, I was like, okay, I used to be an athlete, right? I used to be in really good shape. I knew how to take care of my body, and I'm like, how am I going to save my family, right? This thing's really scary. This COVID thing is like, how am I going to take care of myself and my family? And I thought, well, hey, I'm going to go make sure we start getting the right nutrients in our body to help our immune systems be strong. So that's what I started doing. And then I started finding out things that really worried me. I saw the vilification of these all natural health doctors. This one all natural health doctor was talking about vitamin D. And, where does vitamin D come from, right? Vitamin D is from the sun. So I'm like, why would they be vilifying this guy? He's just talking about something that's that's so natural. And then I wanted to find out why. Why would they be vilifying him? And so I started doing research, and I uncovered so much information about our health system. And I started doing research on that. And I found out early in the 1900s that our medical schools and medical system was really taken over back with the Rockefellers. And when you do that research, it's really intriguing where you're like, oh my gosh, they use this Flexner report to change the way that our health care system was done. Our medical schools, in particular, were done back then, and they only taught pharmaceutical-based medication, and and then they vilified all the all natural health doctors. And so that was really strange, and that really made me mad when I learned that as I was going through this period. So like the second truck recovery was really interesting. I'm like, okay, I want to help myself. All natural health stuff sounds smart. What I should do. Saw the vilification of those doctors. I saw the healthcare system was not wanting to help us. And I uncovered a lot about what was going on bad with our health system. So I'm like, what can I do, Lord? Like literally, what should I do and how can I do it? And he just has been so faithful. He's led me time after time after time to ways to help people. And it's been an exciting journey. And I've created two separate companies over the last 5 years that are really dedicated to helping people with their health in an all natural way. and it's been just a huge, huge blessing to literally take something that is natural and I'm really doing. My faith has grown dramatically. Even though I wasn't Mormon when I went to BYU, I was still a Christian, but I wasn't really strong Christian. I didn't have this love for the Bible that I do now. And when the pandemic hit, I started reading the Bible a lot, and now I read it every day, and I just have a really strong relationship with God, and He's just leading me in such an exciting way. So I've been doing research on the Bible and all the ingredients in the Bible, and that's what we came up with. This last brand and company that I'm doing is just so exciting. It's called Exodus. And we've created these health solutions that are based upon biblical principles and biblical ingredients, and they just have dramatic health benefits. And the Lord led me to this practitioner who has these amazing ingredients that no one else has. We combine them with my biblical ingredients to create a health solution that's just unprecedented. So it's so exciting because I've got this product that no one in the world knows I have yet. So I appreciate you, Mark, letting me talk about it because it's such an amazing solution. It's going to help so many people. It's just they don't know I have it and they don't know that it exists. And so I'm super excited when I can raise enough money to get the advertising out there like it should be because this product has a dramatic healthy effect on people in an all natural way, and so it's super exciting. So there you go. There's my life story in what 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, that definitely has a lot of uh key phases and a lot of layers to it. So many.
Right.
I'm sitting here, I'm like, boy, I have a question about that and that. So hopefully as we go along I can remember
You
some of the
bet.
things I wanted to ask.
I'm
So
excited to dig into whatever you want to dig into, I can dig into. It'll be fun.
well, let me start with the thing that I can actually remember at this point.
Okay, sounds good.
And let me ask you a little bit about the feeling of unfulfillment as you were working in the corporate world,
Yeah.
because I know I've had my fair share of battles with some of the things you described, just feeling frustrated, unfulfilled, and just feeling like you had like a bigger purpose, a higher purpose. You may or may not have known what that was over the period of time, but talk a little bit about what really, I mean, we know about the accidents and that obviously had an impact, but putting together like the feelings of unfulfillment even before the pandemic. And it's funny, I had to catch myself because you even said I was involved in that accident. I'm like, wait a minute. But we were all in that accident.
We
But
were. Yeah, exactly. It affected everybody in the world, right? In one way or another, all in different degrees, but it affected everybody. So people can relate to that. That's why I like to talk about it in that way because people are like, oh, well, yeah, life did kind of change for me, in that period, and it did for me as well. And so that's why I like, hey, you all can relate to that feeling because we all had something dramatic happen to us.
well, keeping all that in mind, was there anything that really along the way made you think I should like go into business for myself? I should be an entrepreneur. Did any of those thoughts occur to you over the
Yeah, it
years?
was really strange to me when I did have a really strong career when I was in corporate sales, and I had what I call those golden handcuffs, right? It was like I was doing what the world tells you need to do. The world tells you need to to school, you need to go to college, get your degree, you need to go to work for corporate America, you need to get your 401k, you need to get the house with the white picket fence, you need to get married, you need to have 3 children, you need to watch sports at night, you need to watch sports on the weekend, and you need to now play video games because these new video games are cool. And, I was just doing all these things that the world was telling me to do. And of course, I already told you the drinking problem, right? So I had a few drinks every night. and I was just really busy doing what the world told me to do. And at the same point, I just never felt like super fulfilled. Just like this, what am I doing? Just repetitive, do all the every day. It was the same thing, right? Get up, go to get ready for work, go to work all day. You get done, and maybe you have a few minutes to spend with your wife for dinner, and then you watch a game, right? Or you play some video games. You maybe watch TV for 30 minutes, and you go to bed, and you recycle that same thing over and over and over again. And it just became just to the point where I just like this just doesn't seem what I'm on this earth for, right? I go back, I was like, gosh, I know he has a plan for me. He saved me from this accident, and I had a couple of other fun, not fun things, but interesting things where I'm probably on my ninth life right now. That was my getting hit by that first truck was definitely the most dramatic one, but I've had other instances where it's like, he's definitely protecting me for some reason. And now I really am super excited because I'm stepping into, I believe, what he's trained me to do. If I look back at my life, every step of the way that was training, right? Running was a training to learn how to fuel my body and how the body is made and how you can train your body and how you can take nutrients in and use what he gave us on this earth to help our bodies do what our body's supposed to do. Our body is built to heal itself. Right. It's like so amazing. And then I went into the corporate world and I learned how to communicate, right? I learned how to sell. I learned how to have conversations. I learned how to present something like we're having this conversation now, and I'm not uncomfortable doing that. So I can talk in front of large groups. And, so he taught me that skill set. And then he's like, boom, okay, that's done. Here's the pandemic. Let's get to work. And I didn't know what that meant, right? I'm like, oh my gosh. And I started uncovering the medical system, take over and how our medical system is just incented wrong. We have great people in our medical industry. They're doctors and nurses are really, really good people, but they're just incented wrong. Our whole system's set up to incent people to, offer a pill rather than heal the body. And so, I want to get to the point where we can incent people to heal and get healthy. And so that's what I'm dedicating my life to now is like I'm learning all these amazing things about all natural health. And I'm really working hard to create solutions for people to get them to actually help them go from unhealthy like I was. I was way overweight. I was, probably 30 pounds heavy, and I couldn't run further than a quarter of a mile probably. Now I'm go fast forward 5, 6, 7 years from I'm 6 years sober, by the way. So I'm excited that I have gotten through that problem, and I exercise 6 days a week. I run 3 days a week, and I'm just am in good health. And so I want to help other people with that same issue, right? It's really easy to get into a rut. And so, to answer your question, I've done it in a really long-winded way, but I did feel really ungratified with life, and I didn't feel I was stepping into my purpose, and I was unsatisfied with that. And it took the pandemic to hit me for me to be able to be strong enough to start looking for my purpose. And I believe that through a lot of prayer and through a lot of reading of the Bible and just a relationship with God, that I really found my purpose. And that, okay, God, you really want me to go help people with their faith and with their health. So I call myself a faith and health warrior, right? Because I really believe that that's my goal in my purpose in life is to help people with their faith and with their health. And so I'm starting to do a lot of people don't want to talk. I didn't want to talk about faith when people would talk to me about it. I was uncomfortable with that conversation. So I thought, well, hey, I know there are a lot of people that are uncomfortable about that conversation. So let's start with health. I'll go help them with their health, and then guess what? I can introduce the Bible. I can introduce the faith as part of their health, and if they're interested, they'll listen. If not, then fine. I'm still helping them with their health, right? I'm still doing good for them, and but then at the same point, I like the existing company I've created now. Our mission is to get a million new people to read the Word through their health. So we include a prayer guide that goes along with every product we sell that, if they're interested, they read the verses that they and engage multiple senses that God gave them to help them with their health. And so, yeah, there you go. So now I really feel that I'm stepping into my purpose that he had me here for, which is pretty exciting.
It's very exciting, and that's amazing progress and growth in your life.
Yeah.
And you can't see it if you're listening, but I clap for your years of sobriety. I mean,
Yeah.
whether you're addicted to chocolate or Coca-Cola, like I am, I have to have one 12-ounce Coca-Cola a day. It's hard to break any kind of like habit, and when
Yeah.
you get into something like alcohol, I can't even imagine. And
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
the,
It's
the
very
type of
addictive. Yep.
the type of growth that you've had. And I love that, you recognize that while, you know, faith and religion can be, not the conversation that everybody wants to like necessarily have on their path to growth, I feel
Right.
like it's important to at least understand that everything happens for a reason. And
Right.
you are a prime example of everything happens for a reason. And I know that I was put on this earth as I am with some of the issues that I have, cleft lip and palate, and, this open syndrome that kind of like goes along with it, and just the path that I've had to live in my life. I don't feel like that is a mistake. I don't feel like that's just random. I mean, some people could view it that way, but
Hmm.
there's a lot of different ways to view life and how we get here and why. And I know we have control over our own actions, and
Right.
that obviously plays a part. But I definitely think to a degree, everything happens for a reason. And I think you went through your path as an athlete. You were so focused on that got sidetracked. You wound up on a different path from that. And now you're here spreading your, your actual fulfilling message. And much like me, I went from having all those obstacles and those ups and downs and met certain people who inspired me and made me think about my imposter syndrome and stuff like that.
Yeah. Good
And
job.
I appreciate that. And now it kind of set me, while I still work in corporate America, I have a job that I love and I'm
Yep.
doing that during the day. I've stayed motivated and stayed on track with this show because I feel like there is something, I can't even put my finger on it, but there's something higher, something that is fulfilling to me that keeps me going with doing all this. And I don't feel like it's all, when you put it all together, I don't feel like it's just for no reason. I feel like there is a definite reason why you and I and all the other people I've had on this show and all the other people, entrepreneurs, all the people all over, not to get too preachy here, but just we're all, there's a reason for why we're here and what we're doing. I love your story for one of the many reasons is that reason.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's just it is super fulfilling when you get to that point where you're like, okay, I really feel that this is what I'm here to do. And I think everybody who at some point wonders, right? Why am I here? And what is my purpose in life? And I'd love to encourage people because if you have breath in your lungs today, guess what? God has a plan for you. right? Literally, so you need to just know that and be comfortable in that, and then start just working towards what that purpose could be. And when you start working towards that purpose, it gets really, really fun. So I had, lived in Oregon for a long. So after my trek at BYU, I got went into sales and went into the Northwest. So I was in the Northwest for 30 some years, and I loved it out there. But it just the Lord led me to Texas, and just I've been here for 3 years, and man, it's just such an amazing difference between. I loved where I lived. I lived in Bend, Oregon. It was like one of the most beautiful places in the world. I'm like, man, this is like place to retire. And but man, the people that I'm meeting here in Texas, he has me here for a reason because man, there's so many people that I'm connecting with that are so amazing. This church that I go to is incredible. There's 300 men that get together every Saturday morning that are just on fire for Christ, and they're just strong, and they're all shapes and colors and sizes and tats, and it's like every type of human being on earth is in that room, and but they all have one purpose, right? They all have a vested interest in God, and trying to help other people with that. So that gives me so much more strength and courage that, geez, I'm not alone in this journey. There's a lot of people, and they look, the variety of people you see is hilarious because, it's like all over the place. You look at one guy, like, oh my gosh, that guy looks like he should be in prison, and he's there, he's hilarious, and he's on fire for Christ just like I am. And so I love that, and the respect that, we're all different. Everybody's path is different, but geez, if we can have an impact on somebody else's life in a positive way, and I think that's why we're here. That's a great commission, right? Is to share the word and the gospel with people. And I love health. I love transitioning people from bad health to good health. And so I love talking about a couple of the things that people can do that are absolutely free, right? And easy. If you do these three things, I promise you, you're going to feel a lot better. So do these three things at least. If you just remember these three things, then I'll be happy. And they're easy, they're free, and they're easy. The first one is water, right? Getting enough water. Most of us don't drink enough water in the day. And so, you have to, yes, exactly. You have to drink at least half an ounce for your body of every pound of body weight. So I'm 200 pounds. I need to drink 100 ounces of water. That's a lot of water every day. And I find myself, I was on a trip for this last week, and I didn't drink near enough water. And it's really bad for you. So you're so good for you to just get that water. And then there is really bad water. So be careful. But it's more important to get water than to not get water. So that's the first thing. But if you can at all, try to drink filtered water, because the water that's coming out of our tap water is just horrible. And that's one of the things I'm so excited about this Make America Healthy Again initiative is, man, it's great. They're looking at getting fluoride out of our drinking water, which is so important. And so anyway, water is the first one. That's simple, free, easy. Drink a lot of water. Drink at least a half an ounce for every a pound of body weight you have. And then the second one is that where I started off my journey of going, what's going on with this guy? It's the sun, right? You need sun. And so it's really important to get that vitamin D in your body. So the first 45 minutes of the day are the best because you can go out and get that direct sunlight, and it's really healthy. There's no UV rays in that first 45 minutes. They call it blue light, and it's just incredibly healthy for you. So that is good. And then just sun in general is very healthy. So get outside. Most people aren't getting outside enough, and especially our children nowadays, right? They're looking at their phone and on their iPad or on their phone, and they're not getting enough. And the third one is grounding. My wife loves to tell me, jab me about this one, because when she first told me about grounding, I thought she was nuts. I'm like, come on, I don't need to ground. My feet are very sensitive, so I don't like to have my feet out on the grass or on the dirt. And man, when I found out the health benefits of grounding, I'm like, geez, I should have been doing that a lot sooner. So literally, I ground almost every day as well. You need to get your feet out on God's given earth, and it really discharges the bad energy in your body and helps you with good energy in your body. And it's not an accident. It literally is something that's scientifically proven. So go look at just the health benefits of healthy water. You look at the benefits of vitamin D, but look at the benefits of grounding, and just those three things are not that hard to do. And it's something if you do consistently, you're going to start feeling better, and you're going to say, man, that guy wasn't so dumb, right? Those three things are easy, free, and I can do them. And then I'll stack a couple of others after that, but that are maybe a little bit harder, but they're still very healthy. And that's what I just have fun doing with people. Just get them to understand it. Man, obviously exercise, is one of those that's really important. And then I talk about cold plunging, which is really important, and breath work, which, if you take those six things, and man, you're going to transform your life in a significant way. And all six of those things are free that you can do without paying any money. And then, then I have other solutions like our Exodus supplement that's just incredible, has amazing health benefits that I like to help people with. So anyway, that's why I get passionate about helping people, because I want to help them with their health. And then guess what? I also love to talk about that we all have a purpose here on earth, and God has us here for a reason. So help people understand that as they're going along their health journey.
Well, I can certainly vouch for the importance of those 3 points because since I've been a little more of like a remote worker, I
Yeah,
can't say that I'm going out there and putting my feet in the dirt and grass, but I'm not wearing shoes as much as I used to.
there you
And
go.
the benefit of that just for my feet, because I used to have a lot of numbness. I still have a little bit, but my feet have come a long way. Like my feet
Yeah,
feel a billion times better just by not wearing shoes. And, if you're at the office 40 hours or more, or
right.
whatever, you're
Yeah,
commuting, you're in shoes. And I mean, it can wreak havoc on your feet. And I mean, I don't have to tell you, you're a runner, you're an athlete, so
yeah.
I don't really have to say much more. But these 3 things, they're so easy, yet they can be very hard because
Yeah, yeah. You have to
water.
you have to try, right? You have to literally think, okay, I'm going to try these three things today, right? Let's just try these three things. That's why I started off simple, right? I could say these six things, then people start going, oh my gosh, there's no way. And then after a couple of days, they don't do all six, and then they get frustrated. So I like to just start off with those three. Those three are super easy, right? Drink water. And that's not tough. You can drink the water, but man, it's so important for you when you do it. And then you get that sun and the vitamin D, and that you start getting energy that you didn't realize you needed, and then you discharge it when you ground, and my gosh, you start feeling so much better. Like you, Mark, I had really numb feet as well, and man, I don't have numb feet anymore. It's just because literally getting all that circulation with the water that I'm getting, the vitamin D in my body, and then getting some nutrients that way, and then the grounding just helps dramatically with that. So yeah, I implore people to have that, to just try those three things, and you're going to say, "Whoa, I can't believe it's starting to feel better." That's pretty cool. So that's fun.
So, talk a little bit about the evolution of the podcast and the Exodus product and how they may or may not go hand in hand. I'm feeling like they do, but
Yeah,
just kind
they
of
do.
talk
Yeah.
about how this has all evolved because you've helped yourself so much and you've seen how you can help and serve others. So, talk a little bit about all of that.
Yeah, sounds good. It's fun. So the journey of my health thing, as I mentioned, the understanding how nutrition was important, right? I went back and started doing all that research, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go create some supplements. That was my first idea and thought to help after the pandemic. And the Lord led me to this gentleman who created these quantum energy skin patches. and they're really cool. There's these small skin patches that you apply to your body, and it connects to the energy system in your body. And when I first heard about those, I was like, no, that's crazy, right? That doesn't make any sense to me. That little sticker you're going to put on my body can't help me unless it's got something in it that's going to do the medicine. I was really stuck in the old world that you got to trust the white coat, and if the doctor doesn't tell you that it's good, then nothing, it's not good. And but boy, I've really changed that method, that thinking just through all my research now. So this, I still have that company. It's a skin patch business, and it's doing really, really well. It's helping. We have 14 different products that help with pain and allergies and other things. And that's where I started with my podcast, was the with our QE Strong business, the quantum. So QEstrong.com is that business, and it has our marquee product is a pain relief product. So it's just a little patch you put on, and it helps relieve pain. And we've had people that have had chronic pain for decades who use this product, and they're like, what the heck? This one woman I met at a show, she had shoulder pain so bad that she couldn't lift her arm. Period. She couldn't even have her purse on the shoulder because it would just fall off. She couldn't even lift up her shoulder. And she used our patch, and she came back an hour later, and she was just so excited. She lifted up her arm. She's like, I haven't been able to do that in 10 years. And I'm just like, what? Are you kidding me? She's like, this is amazing. So it was really, really, we've seen transformations like that a lot with that business. So I started doing research on pain. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I found out that 50% of our seniors have some type of pain or chronic pain. And that's like just such a ridiculously large number. I'm like, how can I help people? So that's why I started the podcast. So I interview all these all natural holistic doctors and just say, hey, how are you helping people with pain? Because pain sucks, right? Pain is miserable. I've had lots of accidents and things, and pain when you have, for example, you have back pain, right? You can't even move, right? It's just horrible. So you think about all these people that have pain. I'm like, how can we help people? So I went down this road with the podcast. It's been a blast. I'm having fun helping people understand how to get themselves free of pain. And that literally, this whole process led me to Exodus, in this Exodus Strong brand that I have now, because one of the things that really was driving me is how do we get to the source? So when I was interviewing all these doctors, they're like, yeah, your pain is mainly from inflammation, is the source of most people's pain. And then I'm like, okay, well then let's back up. How do they get the inflammation? And then they say, well, inflammation starts in the gut. So you got to get your gut healthy. When you get your gut healthy, the inflammation's reduced, the pain's reduced. I'm like, okay, good. Well, let's go start, let's go start there. So I was doing research on all the biblical ingredients in the Bible, saying, how can I help people with their inflammation? And man, God is good, because I couldn't find the right combination that was just super amazing, that there wasn't already, something already out there in the market. So I'm like, God, what is it? There's got to be something. And I through my church, I met this one wonderful woman who knew my story and what I was trying to do. And she goes, have you met so and so? There was a doctor out of California, practitioner, and I went holistic practitioner, and he and I met, and he was looking for me, and I was looking for him. So it was such a cool thing. He has this molecular hydrogen blend that is when I found out what it does, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, it does all of that, and he's like, yeah, and it's unbelievable. It's patented, so no one else can steal it from us, and it works really well. I'm like, well, let's take the 7 biblical ingredients. I was looking at like 20 of them, but there were 7 that were really synergistic with what this molecular hydrogen does, and together it's so incredibly cool because it helps with inflammation, right? So it helps with pain. It's got saffron in it, which helps with stress and anxiety. That's a big health problem that the world has right now. It helps with cardiovascular issues. It helps with cognitive issues. And so you look at the top 5 health problems with the world, it's like, heart issues, right, is one of the biggest sources of death in our country. Blood sugar, diabetes is going through the roof. So blood sugar issues are really, really important and a big problem. And then the pain, right? I talked about there's so many people in pain. I'm like, how can we help with all that? Guess what? You take the combination of the molecular hydrogen component and my seven biblical ingredients. I've got organic barley grass and wheatgrass. Those two ingredients help with all the nutrients you need. So instead of taking those green shakes that you got to make and they're nasty, tasty, you get the nutrients you need through the barley grass and wheatgrass. And then we have that saffron, which helps with stress and anxiety. And you add cumin, aloe. Aloe really helps with that gut health, which I mentioned earlier about how gut health is so important to get rid of inflammation. And then you add cumin, frankincense, and myrrh. So those are the seven ingredients. And those last three help with inflammation reduction. And then you look at the benefits of that molecular hydrogen, and it really helps dramatically with inflammation reduction. So you take the biblical ingredients with the molecular hydrogen, and it's just an incredibly powerful solution that the world just doesn't know they exist yet. So I have it, and I want to let the world know I do have it because it's helping we've only had this brand available. It took us almost a year to make it, to get it manufactured, and it's only been in the market for like 2 months. So it's brand new, and the world just doesn't know I have it. And I'm excited when the world does, because I honestly believe in about 12 months, your Exodus is going to be a one of those names that it's just a household name, because the product is so beneficial that I believe it's going to be viral, just because like people are like, hi, how do I get that Exodus? Well, it gives me all the energy I need for the day, helps me reduce my stress, helps me reduce inflammation. And it's like just a very, very healthy, all natural solution. So why would you not take it? And so anyway, that's been super, super exciting on that path to get there. So there's my QE Strong story, my I Am Pain Free podcast story, and my Exodus story all interwoven.
Well, I'm glad you broke all that down, especially the part about the actual ingredients, because
Yeah,
I was really fascinated by this when I was prepping to do this episode. So I'm glad you broke that down. One question before the final question, and I'm curious because your faith has been a real driver for everything that you're doing, but you
yeah,
were also an athlete.
yeah.
Does the mindset, does anything you learned as an athlete, does it impact your business or your life at all? Or is it just purely faith driven at this point?
No, I mean, I think to me, it's really they're combined, because of my life as an athlete, what really helped me learn how to be just determined, right? My wife calls me, one of the most competitive people she's ever met, because I just cannot stand to lose, period, right? So that's not probably a very good Christian thing to have, as being really competitive. But I just do not like, so I'm very determined. I really do not like to lose. And so I think that's really important in my business, just to have that. It's like, hey, things are going to go bad, things are going to go wrong. And guess what? I'm going to keep going, because I have to. I got to keep going. I'm going to keep persevering. And I believe that's been really helpful in my faith as well, because man, people just don't believe in God, or people don't believe in my faith. And it's okay. I went to BYU. I took this class at BYU that was called World Religions. And there's like so many beliefs, it's not even funny, right? Of how many different religions there are in the world. And so I'm okay with everybody having their own belief. That doesn't bother me whatsoever. I just want to let them know what I believe in, and why, right? So I love the talking about the Bible and how authentic the Bible is, and how incredibly it's written in such an incredible way that there's no way it could be written by these individual people without a design. And when you start looking at the design, you're like, holy smokes, I didn't know that. And when you can explain that to people and show it to people, and it's proven, it's like, wow, that's really incredible. So that's been fun. So yeah, there you go. That's my so in my work, the faith is really important, because it drives everything I do. It's like, okay, how can we help people, right? And helping people in multiple ways. We have the prayer guide, right? So every product has this prayer guide that goes with our product. This prayer guide has a something we want to literally have them say out loud every day. So they're reading it with their eyes, they're declaring it with their mouth. There's power in the tongue, as the Bible tells us. And then you're hearing yourself read it, and then you take the capsules, and so that's helping you inside. And your mind is super powerful. You can literally overcome pain just with your mind, right? That's what I'm learning from these practitioners. So to include my faith as part of the journey is, I think, really important. Then we have this mission to get 1 million people to read the word through their faith, and then we give back every bottle of our product. Here's a bottle of our Exodus product. Every bottle we sell, we give $2 of it to charity, because we wanna help people. So it's really important part of us to give back to the people who are helping us.
Well, I really appreciate your mission and your drive and the positivity that you're trying to spread and just how you're trying to help everybody. It's amazing and loved hearing your story today. And I'm going to now persevere with
There you go.
this question. Just that's a terrible segue, but I'm gonna give you the floor to tell everybody how they can get Exodus, how they can learn more about you, your podcast, what you're doing, and go at it.
Sounds good. I appreciate it a lot. I think it's simple. The Exodus Strong is the name of the company, and so super easy. Exodus, EXODUS, and then Strong. So there's two S's in it. ExodusStrong.com is the best way to get the Exodus product. You can learn all about those ingredients and then that molecular hydrogen blend, and that product is just absolutely amazing. I think you're really going to have benefits. And then we have this, what I haven't even mentioned yet, as a champions program, which is just a referral program that we have. And it's free to sign up, you like the product and you want to share it with somebody, you just sign up in the referral program, and I give you 20% for anybody who buys off of that link, right? So it's super easy for people to pay for their own product just by sharing it with 5 people, right? And then boom, you have your product paid for, and you're helping other people. So it's just a great way for me to share the product. It's not multi-level. I do 2 tiers, which is pretty cool. So I give you 20% for the first tier, and then the second tier I give you another 5%. So you can end up making 25% of the product just by sharing it with people. And since it's helping people and it's all natural and the ingredients are amazing, why not, right? Let's all help each other. So that's an incredible way to do it. And then my podcast is called I Am Pain Free. So it's for those the different words, with the space between them, and then you can find me on all podcast places. And so I'm excited about that as well. So I appreciate it.
All righty. Well, Rob Rene, thank you so much for being on Mark My Words today. This was very enlightening and inspirational, and you've overcome so much, not only with your pain and the accident we were all in, but also the
Yeah,
accident
that's right.
earlier in life, the ups and downs of corporate America and life. I really think it's amazing where you're at now, and you have a very positive message. I appreciate you coming on here and talking about what you do because you're doing it well. And again, Rob Rene, he is the CEO of Exodus Strong, also podcast host of I Am Pain Free. And thanks for being on Mark by Words.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate it. God bless.
All right. God bless. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to go on a journey with me into entrepreneurship and life on Mark My Words. If you would like to learn more about me and the show, you can find me on LinkedIn at Mark Schmidt or connect with me on Instagram at Nimrod79. Video episodes of Mark My Words, as well as other content, can also be found on the Mark My Words YouTube page. Entrepreneurship can be quite the roller coaster ride. It can be a bit isolating and intimidating, but it doesn't have to be that way. Let's meet here next time at the Crossroads on another episode of Mark My Words.